By the time you were deploying from State House on that evening, that night rather, you had a common plan not to take any prisoners, correct?
There was an order not to take any prisoners, and we executed that order.
Mr. Singhateh, I know you are now characterizing it as an order, but the evidence we received was that council members agreed among themselves that they will take no prisoners. Is that true or is it false?
As I said in my statement, and I'm not going to give a true or false response to this. As we were leaving State House, Yahya Jammeh told us take no prisoners, and Sana Sabali said yes sir, and this is what we executed.
Was there a conversation among council members about what they were going to do when they deployed to crush the coup d'etat that was going to take place?
The plan was to crush it and then execute the orders, take no prisoners.
The question is,
yes.
Was there a discussion among council members before you deployed?
A discussion in what fashion? Are you talking about a meeting?
Did council members converge somewhere and spoke among themselves and decided what they were going to do?
What happened, as I testified, is that we converged at State House and we started the procedure of moving, but we agreed to go and crush the coup and retake the barracks. That is what we agreed on.
How was that agreement reached?
Well, like I told you, we were collected, we went to State House, we were there together with the chairman of the AFPRC, and the discussion was that these people have launched their coup and we need to crush it, and we were delegated to go and do so.
Was it a delegation or was it an agreement by members of the ruling council?
It was not like a council meeting where we agree collectively to do something. It was a delegation, it was our duty, and we executed it.
So are you suggesting that you did not have any say in what was going to happen that evening?
Not at all. I fully agreed with what should happen, that we had to quash this coup. I fully agreed, and I participated in everything.
By reason of the fact that an agreement was required from all of you, meant that it was a collective decision and not a decision by one person?
No, there was not an agreement required. In fact, there was not even a debate on what should happen or what should not happen.
But there was a discussion.
Well, like I said, we agreed that we had to quash, but it was not in the manner in which you are talking about, that, okay, what should we do? What do we need to do?
So what did you discuss?
Well, Sana Sabali had briefed the president as to what exactly was happening, and we all knew that we had to go and quash this. It was a matter of life and death.
Hold on a second. what I am trying to drive at here, Mr. Singhateh, is that members of the council discussed amongst themselves about the coup that was in the making, correct?
I know what you are trying to establish, that whether there was a joint agreement to do X, Y, and Z. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that it did not happen just in the form of a discussion asking ourselves, what should we do? No, we knew what was happening and we knew what we had to do and we agreed to execute it.
How was that agreement reached?
Well, once we reached there and then the president was briefed and it was, decided that we go and then quash the coup. And as you had asked me yesterday, was President Jammeh restrained? What did he want to go? And I told you that he said so.
Let us not muddy the waters.
No, I am trying to explain the circumstances.
The question is, how was that decision reached? I have asked you in several ways, but you kept changing the word without telling us the process of reaching the agreement.
It is the process that I'm trying to explain. It was agreed collectively. We all knew what we had to do, what needed to be done, and we did it.
And that collective agreement was as a result of a conversation amongst yourselves that this is what you were going to do, correct?
It was after the briefing we all agreed that we needed to quash this, yes.
Thank you very much. So that agreement means that it was the council itself, the members of the council who were present there, who made that decision collectively, wasn't it?
We all agreed to quash the coup and we went to quash it.
So therefore it was not just an order by Jammeh, it was a collective council decision.
Let us separate the two issues. Let us not confuse the executions or the order not to take any prisoners along with the order or along with the knowledge or agreement that we had to quash this coup.
That is exactly what I am trying to do here, Mr. Singhateh. The decision to deploy was not on the basis of an order simpliciter. It was on the basis of a collective agreement by members of the council who were there present, and they agreed to go out there and crush this coup that was in the making.
Yes, sir.
Good. So the plan to take no prisoners was also part of this agreement, wasn't it?
No, sir, because at that time we didn't know whether we would have prisoners or not. We didn't know whether we would even survive.
Wow, that is strange, isn't it?
No, it's not strange. How can you predict that you are going to go into combat and know exactly what the outcome is going to be? You cannot predict that.
Well, Mr. Singhateh, it was you who told us that Yahya Jammeh said take no prisoners.
Yes, that was an order. But obviously that order is conditioned upon you being successful.
What I'm trying to tell you here is, Mr. Singhateh, that those decisions were collective.
That was not a decision. Sorry.
It was not an order by Yahya Jammeh. It was a collective decision on the basis of that collective agreement to go and crush the coup d'etat.
What I can assure you is that there was no discussion amongst ourselves about what we do after the outcome. What we had agreed generally is that who should go. That is what we agreed. Now, as we were leaving, there was an order, don't take no prisoners.
Wouldn't that be a suggestion, Mr.
Sorry,
Singhateh?
what?
Wouldn't that, don't take any prisoners, wouldn't that be a suggestion?
No, that's not a suggestion.
You were a council, Mr.
Yes,
Singhateh.
Yes.
And that council made decisions collectively. It was not left to one single person to decide, was it?
That is quite true, but these were exceptional circumstances.
No, Mr. Singhateh.
No, they were.
There was a standard way of operating on the basis of law that this council makes decisions collectively. It was not left to Yahya Jammeh to decide what the council would do, was it?
Sir, I think you have forgotten about the evidence already before the commission. The evidence even was, as we were deployed, there was a commander. Once we went into that deployment mode, once there was a threat against our security and against our lives, against this country, we went back to combat mode, which means that if Sana Sabali gives the order, it cannot be discussed. We follow and carry out those orders accordingly. Yeah. We don't take orders by decision.
But Mr. Singhateh, you were Minister of Defense at the time, weren't
yes,
you?
I was.
Oh, exactly. And who led operations was a matter that was agreed by you.
By me?
By the whole group.
No.
Any single one of you could have led operations if the group wanted.
That is if that is expressly stated. But if it is not, we follow seniority.
But does it really matter?
It matters.
No, in every operation, there has to be some form of seniority, otherwise it would not work. Isn't that the case?
Absolutely. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
No, you are not trying to tell me that. What you are trying to do is to suggest that everything was decided by Jammeh.
No.
Thank you. Then we are now in agreement that this was decided by the council and not just Yahya Jammeh.
We agreed to go and quash the coup. As we were leaving, he said, take no prisoners.
Was that a suggestion or was it an order?
I took it as an order.
But under the legal arrangements you had at the time, was Yahya Jammeh in a position to unilaterally give an order to the council, or was it not the case that in fact matters two members of council were to be discussed collectively?
Sir, ordinarily in a council meeting where we have our secretary to council, where we have the secretary general president and the present and the attorney general present, yes, of course. But there was no time to call a council meeting and then move a motion and then agree. As we were leaving, he said, "Don't take no prisoners." That is what he said.
Mr. Singhateh, don't
yes,
make a mockery of the arrangements.
I am not. I'm trying to explain to you exactly what happened.
What I am telling you is that Yahya Jammeh was in no position under the legal framework to make such an order. The council members who were present had to agree to this.
Sir, he was the head of the council. He has certain powers.
Yes, but did that make him, did that clothe him with legal authority to make such an order?
Yes, it did.
Well, I beg to differ, Mr. Singhateh. That is the reason why you had to collectively talk about what you are going to do.
Absolutely not.
Okay, well,
especially with regards to that, because we were departing. So we didn't come back and say, okay, what should we do if we catch prisoners? No, that never happened. We were departing and he told us, take no prisoners, and that is what we did.
So that was a side comment, but you said it was an order.
I take it as an order. If my senior tells me to do something, it's an order. It's not a side comment.
Right.
In fact, there are no side comments in the military, as far as I know.
All right. This was not a military decision by Yahya Jammeh, was it?
But it was a military council. So how can it not be a military decision?
But exactly, this is what I am trying to drive at, is the fact that this was a council decision and not just Yahya Jammeh, because otherwise, a council would not have been necessary anyway. Just one person would have decided and everything would happen.
So this was an exceptional circumstance. It happened and we carried out the order.
All right, you choose to call it an order. The commission would decide whether it was an order or was it a collective decision of the council.
So be it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So you went to Yundum Barracks, then Fajara Barracks.
Yes, sir.
Some soldiers were executed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in that execution, the role you play, okay, let me rephrase it.
Which one are you, Fajara Barracks or Yundum Barracks?
Fajara Barracks.
Okay, sir.
Fajara Barracks. And the execution of the prisoners at Fajara Barracks was pursuant to what?
It was pursuant to the order that we had to take no prisoners.
But wasn't it also pursuant to the collective decision of the council to go and cross the fighting?
No, crushing fighting and what you do subsequently are two different events.
So, Mr. Singhateh, this is interesting. You are trying to create a very smart way of distinguishing a decision in which you participated in from an isolated order by Yahya Jammeh, supposed isolated order by Yahya Jammeh, and you want to pin the actual crime to the order by Yahya Jammeh and not to the decision of the council in which you participated. This is still part of the same strategy of saying, oh yes, it is them, it's not me.
Can I respond?
Please,
go ahead. You will allow me to respond properly?
Yes.
Okay, sir. First of all, during the course of this commission, you yourself have distinguished the fact that those who did not die in the fighting, in crushing the coup and the executions. Because if they had died during the act of crushing the coup, then they would not have been executions. The reason why they
are... But you are comparing apples with oranges,
no,
Mr. Singhateh.
Please, you told me that I can explain.
But you have just explained, and your
explanation... I am not finished, and then you are speaking of... Okay, well, go ahead. Whatever you want to do, sir, you can do. What I'm trying to do is just explain my side, and I'm not reneging on any of my responsibility.
Just allow me, Mr. Singhateh.
Okay, I will allow you again. Since you don't allow me, I'll allow you.
No, you would be allowed, Mr. Singhateh. This is your show.
No, it's not.
What I am telling you is, you have given us an explanation, but that explanation compares apples with oranges. We are not talking about people who die during actual combat. That is not the issue we are talking about. What we are talking about here is a decision of the council. You're trying to separate a decision of the council to which you are a part from an order by Yahya Jammeh which you did not make, and want to attribute the violation of the law to the orders of Yahya Jammeh, but refuse to acknowledge that the decision in which you participated in is also responsible for those violations. So you're trying to isolate yourself, shield yourself from responsibility. The same strategy. It is them who did it and not me. That is what you're trying to do here.
So that is a very wrong accusation. And
show us how it is wrong.
Of course, it is extremely wrong. First of all, I accept my role. And as an officer, if I'm given an unlawful order and I execute, I'm equally culpable. The order was given, it was unlawful, and we executed. I accept that. But remember, no, you said we are separating apples and oranges. You know,
let me come in there. I just want to tell you that you said the unlawful order was executed by other people. You did not participate in its execution. You stood there, you did not fire your weapon.
No, sir. I am equally culpable as everybody else, as I have told you more than once. And I hope everybody is listening to this. Just because I did not fire my weapon, my men did, or were there and part of that lineup, I accept full responsibility as if I did it.
Did you order? You see, this is the problem. As if I did. Because this is creating a legal loophole. No. So that one could always turn around and say, well, I thought it wasn't me, it was others. This is what we're trying to avoid. The commission wants to get to the truth.
Yes, sir, but
not
if
just
you will
about
allow
actions of other people,
if
but
you
your own actions,
no, sir.
Mr. Singhateh.
No, sir, I really beg to differ. I'm not trying to create a legal loophole, and I'm glad that everybody is listening to this. I have told you time and time again, I am not trying to renege on my own culpability. And obviously, if this goes to court, everything is going to be presented. And I will even stand in court and say, yes, I was there, it was our order, we executed it, and we violated the law.
Okay, it was our order.
Yes.
Did you participate in the issuance of that order?
Not initially, but in the execution of it, yes.
So during the execution, you ordered your men to participate in the killing?
The order was given by Sana Sabali and it was executed.
You see?
No, Sana
Again,
Sabali told this commission, I believe, that he gave the order.
Sana did say he ordered, but Sana did also say that you shot.
But that was mistaken. But whether I shot or not, I accept my responsibility and I accept full responsibility.
Mr. Singhateh, that is the crux of the matter here.
I don't know what more to do.
Yes, we want to get to the truth. In every answer that you give, you create that caveat, that little island that would isolate you from direct involvement in the issue. It was our order. No, it was Sana Sabali who issued that order. I did not.
But he'd already told you that. It's already before the commission.
But you said, you told us it was our order. What makes you own up to that order?
It was, yes, of course, I own and I take full responsibility for it. I do. As a participant of those who went to quash the coup, I was there.
Did you order your men to join that extended line?
No, I did not.
Did you order your men to fire?
No, I did not. The order was given and everybody knows.
Did your men stand on that extended line?
Yes, they stood on the extended line. We all did. Exactly.
So all of you therefore collectively own up whether you fire or not?
Yes, I told you that.
But this is a legal loophole.
It is not a legal loophole.
It
and
is, Mr.
I am
Singhateh.
not trying to run away from responsibility.
Yes. Let's take it easy, Mr. Singhateh. You refused to own up to a collective decision for the executions, did you not?
Sir, it was not a collective decision. Like I told you, the way and manner in which it was given cannot be seen as collective. Okay, let's, for example, if at all we agree, we are part of a committee, you are the chair, we agree to something and everybody leaves, and on their way out, you tell them to do something. Is that collective or not?
Mr. Singhateh,
No, because I'm trying to understand now what collective is from your point of view.
What I am trying to drive at is
yes,
this.
Sir.
You are suggesting that before you left State House, two things happened. One was an agreement to go and crush the coup, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the second one was an order by Yahya Jammeh to take no prisoners, correct?
Yes, sir.
The first one, which is to go and crush, had no illegalities, correct?
Yes, sir, that is true.
But the second one, take no prisoners, clearly is an illegal order.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you agree that you participated in the first one, which is the legal order, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you deny making the second one, which is an order.
No, sir. I implemented the order.
No. We are not talking about implementing yet.
No, but of course.
No.
By implementing an illegal order, you also become equally culpable.
We are not talking about implementing yet. The question is, you refuse being a party to the decision to take no prisoners.
Okay, sir. I want to get something clear. Now, if Yahya Jammeh at the time says, do something, and I want to know, and you do it, is it a collective decision or is it an order?
Mr. Singhateh, I am not here to answer questions.
No, sir, I just
you are the
want
one
to know.
Answer questions.
Because
it will help if you listen to the question and you answer the question honestly.
But I have answered your question honestly.
Okay,
I don't know what more you want.
No, you have not answered the question. The question is, did you participate in making the decision to take no prisoners?
There was no collective decision to take no prisoners. At State House, there was not.
That is your testimony.
That is my testimony.
So essentially what we have is one legal order, one legal decision, and an illegal order, correct?
I believe so, yes.
So you participated in the legal one. correct?
Generally, yes.
You did not participate in making the illegal one.
There was one person who gave that order,
But
and that
just
was
answer the
Jammeh.
question. It's a simple yes or no.
I did not suggest it to him. I did not ask him to say it.
You could easily say no.
I did not say no. Yes, I did not say no. I have told you that. We went to execute.
I'm not talking about executions yet. You did not participate in making the illegal order or the illegal decision, correct?
Yahya Jammeh told us take no prisoners.
You can simply answer yes or no.
Okay, no.
Good. So the execution, the implementation of the illegal order,
yes, sir.
that is kill, don't take any prisoners,
yes, sir.
Which means execute prisoners.
Yes, sir.
Did you physically participate in that?
I was physically there and I partook.
How did you partake?
Because I didn't stop it. I was there in the line. We were ordered to shoot, even though I did not discharge my rifle, but I'm equally culpable. I'm not removing myself from that.
You see, the commission would make its decision on these things because it's quite obvious that you are just accepting those bits you believe are lawful and you deny and run away conveniently from those that are unlawful. Because for that implementation of this so-called illegal order, to which you did not participate in making, you just told the commission. You did not fire your weapon. You were simply there as a bystander. That's what you said, isn't it?
Madam Chairperson, if I may, for the record, I participated. I am not reneging on my responsibility for the execution of the order, and I take full responsibility for my actions. Whether I discharged my weapon or not, I want you to know that I was there, I was in the line, I take full responsibility, and I'm not running away from it. And I'm deeply remorseful for it. So please, once you are making your decision, please remember that I am not running away from this responsibility. Even if you take me to court or prosecute me for it, I will agree that yes, I was there and I participated, it was wrong and illegal.
In that case, Mr. Singhateh, would you plead guilty to a charge of murder?
Sir, if it came down to that, I would. Of course, sir.
So you say you are guilty of those two murders?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. And this is all I was trying to get.
But you should have just asked in that manner rather than trying to... Because I have told you, I have offered my full cooperation. But yet you still insist on trying to drag me through the mud in this manner. It is unnecessary.
No, I am trying to get out the facts and make sure that there is no hiding inside legal loopholes.
Who is hiding?
All right. This is what Senator Sabali had to say on this. He said, we went to State House, and then I asked what happened. He said, and we discussed about the capture of Barrow and the killing, and then we continued back to Yundum Barracks. So I asked him, at State House, who did you meet? He said, Chairman Jammeh. After the killing of Basiru Barrow and Dotfal, where did you go?
Well, sir, I hope you will differentiate the order when we were leaving State House initially from what you have just read.
I will definitely distinguish them.
Okay.
This just sets the space for what would come later. I mean, there was obviously 2 more trips to Yundum Barracks, but the evidence would have to come from you.
Yes, sir. When we had returned to State House and we left State House again for Yundum Barracks, we went and there were some further executions.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir. There were some further executions.
Yes. So tell us what happened when you left Yundum Barracks.
Well, when we when we left Yundum Barracks, or
Sorry, Fajara Barracks. When you left Fajara Barracks, where did you go and what happened next?
yes, sir. Because you asked when we left State House, what we did we do? You skipped a bit.
No, I just read that portion to set the stage for what is to come after you guys left Fajara Barracks. I'm sorry if you think I have misled you, but tell us what happened after you finished your operations at Fajara Barracks. Where did you go?
After we finished at Fajara Barracks, we proceeded to Yundum.
Proceed, please.
Yes, when we arrived at Yundum, Sanasabali had given the order that the ringleaders that were in the cell should be executed. And we did so.
And who was executed?
I believe there was Fafa Nyang, I believe there was EMCC, and one Sergeant Kamara.
Can you tell us how that order was executed?
Yes, sir. They were ordered out of the cells, and the soldiers around were asked to shoot them.
Who asked to shoot them?
Well, as Sanasabali had given the order, I had also instructed the soldiers shoot them, and they shot them.
So you accept that you also gave an order for the soldiers to shoot?
Yes, sir, I did.
Fafanya.
I agree to that.
And was that order carried out?
Yes, sir, the order was carried out.
Fafanyang was executed?
He was, sir.
And for the first time, Mr. Singhateh, you have owned up to direct contribution to a killing. And this supports the evidence that we have. Lieutenant Marong did say that Lieutenant Singhateh also ordered that Sergeant Fafanyang be taken from the cell and killed.
Yes, I just want to state something for the record.
Please.
You have constantly accused me of reneging from responsibility.
No,
no sir,
what
please,
I have done,
no, please,
let me
sir,
clarify
no, because
that.
you have made that very clear that every time something comes directly to me, I have conveniently cleared myself and pointed to others. When it comes to what I have done, I will tell the Commission. But it is unfair to suggest that just because you have something before you, that it is absolutely true, and I am fully culpable for that. So yes, I did. In this instance, I did.
Mr. Singhateh,
Yes,
I never made any accusation. What I did was I characterized the evidence as I saw it. And even if you look at your statement, you clearly state that you did not order the killing of Fafanyang. And that is why I was impressed by your admission here that you did in fact instruct that Fafanyang be executed. So that's a departure from your statement. And I am happy that you are willing to own up to your own responsibility. What do you have to say to the family of Fafanyang, seeing that you have ordered his execution and that he was executed?
Not only to the family of Fafanyang, but even to Basiru Barrow and also to Dotfal.
We would come to all
yes,
that.
but still, whilst I have the opportunity, I would like to apologize profusely or profoundly for my actions. They were wrong, they were illegal. Fafanyang was a comrade and a colleague. True, we felt threatened by them, and we felt that we would have been executed ourselves. But that does not justify what we did. And I wish that we could go back and reverse some of these actions, but we cannot. I cannot imagine how the families of Basiru Barrow, Lieutenant Dotfal, and Sergeant Nyang had felt. I can only imagine if it was me. how my families would have felt, how my family and my friends and my loved ones would have felt if they had lost me. And there is no measure or no words that I have to express my regret. And I am sincerely apologizing, and I hope that they can find it in their hearts to forgive. If they cannot, I fully understand, because what happened was despicable. It should not have happened. We were under pressure, true, not an excuse. Our lives, we felt threatened, true, not an excuse. We should have risen above that. But at that time, we could not. We were young, we were angry, and I cannot say that that is an excuse, which I have said is not, but I can only ask them to find it within their hearts to forgive me, and not only me, even those under my command. And let them not judge those who were under my command. I take responsibility for their actions. Some of them are very good soldiers, and in fact, they are very good soldiers. They would never have done this on their own. It was our fault as a council, and I deeply regret it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Singhateh. That's the whole essence of the TRRC. We are here to find out the truth, and we apologize to each other for the wrongs we have done. We try to embrace and reconcile and heal as a nation. That's the whole essence of this process, and thank you very much for accepting that responsibility. But the killings of that day did not in fact end with Fafanyang. In fact, soon after Fafanyang, 2 other people were executed.
Absolutely, sir.
Tell us about it.
Yes, sir, it was the same. Sana Sabali had given his order and entered the anteroom. Sana Sabali had given the order and entered the anteroom. Before he did so, after he did, before I entered the anteroom, I made sure that those orders were executed.
How did you do so?
I told the soldiers also to execute this Sergeant Camara and EMCC as ringleaders.
You accept that you ordered the execution of those people?
I accept that I made that order, yes, sir.
And the order was implemented?
The order was implemented, sir.
And Basiru Kamara and EMCC were executed?
Yes, sir, they were.
And you know fully well that that was a crime, wasn't it?
Sir, I have said from the beginning, everything was wrong, it was unjustifiable and illegal. It was a crime. I fully admit.
Thank you very much. From there,
can I also apologize to their families too, because I have not, not done so.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Same thing for the families of EMCC and Sergeant Camara. I would like to take this opportunity to apologize. I am deeply sorry for my actions. I take full ownership of my actions. And like I said with the previous apology, I can only imagine the pain that they would have gone through, not knowing what happened to their father, their husband, their son, their brother, and I am deeply sorry. I can only pray that the Almighty Allah will instill forgiveness in their hearts towards us. And if they can find it in their hearts to forgive us, and forgive me and everybody else, then it will be deeply appreciated. This is an act that happened and it should not have. All of these people, like I mentioned, were good soldiers. In fact, the reason why I have never played the blame game is because they're just like us. I could have died on 1994, just like they died on November 11th. And because we came through a military coup, I cannot say that I blame them 100% also for trying to depose us. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So I fully accept my actions, and I would really like to express to the families my regret, my sorrow to my actions, and also to apologize to each and every one of them. I am deeply sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Singhateh. There were also further executions that day, but before then, the council decided to go back to State House.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that.
Yes, sir. We returned to State House, and Sana Sabali had briefed President Jammeh on the fact that we had that Basiru Barrow had died, had been executed, Dotfal, EMCC, Basiru Kamara, and Fafanyang. And he explained also that there were also others in the cell. Other ringleaders had been arrested.
Could you tell us who went to State House with your entourage from Yundum Barracks?
It was only the council members, as I can recall. It was Sana Sabali, myself, Yankuba Toure, and Sadibu Haidara.
Proceed, please.
Yes, sir. So Sana Sabali had debriefed him on exactly what transpired, and then Jammeh asked, but why did you leave the others? And he said that, do you not know that if they had succeeded, you would not be here. We would all be dead. So why did you leave them? You should not have spared them. He also said that if they are kept alive, they have sympathizers within the ranks that could move to free them, and they would execute their intentions against us by launching an attack and killing us and our families as they had initially planned. So he told us to go back and finish the job.
And did council members agree to go back and finish the job?
Well, sir, yes, sir, we did.
Would you accept, therefore, that at that stage it became a collective decision to go back and finish the job?
Of course, by implication, it definitely did, even though our opinions were not asked. But we met, he was briefed, and this is what the outcome of that meeting was. So, of course, it's collective.
Let me state what Sana Sabali said before the commission, and let us know whether that is true. And he said, I asked him, so at State House, who did you meet? He answered, Chairman Jammeh. And question, were you alone when you met him? Answer, no. He said it in German. I think it's Nien or something, or Nien or whatever, which translates to no. The whole council members were there. Question, and what was discussed? He said, we discussed about the capture of Lieutenant Barrow and Dotfal and some of the soldiers in Yundum Barracks who were already in detention in Mile 2. And we discussed what to do next with the remaining ringleaders who were somehow on the run. And what decision did you arrive at? He said, we have to pursue them by any means to get them. And what would you do when you get them? The answer was to execute the ringleaders. And the question was, and was this also another council decision? He said, exactly. So I asked, so this would be the second council decision to execute these people? He answered, it might not be the second. It is not the second one. It was only to reiterate what we had agreed on before. Do you agree with his characterization that it was a collective decision to execute these soldiers?
Well, you know, people express themselves a little bit differently. There are no two people who express themselves exactly the same. From what I understand, what Sana Sabali was trying to say is that it was not a second collective decision. It followed from what Jammeh had asked us to do when we were initially leaving State House, which he felt, I'm trying to find, you know, but you were trying to interject. If you do this, you spoil exactly what I'm trying to say, and people don't get the benefit of trying to hear.
I wouldn't want to do that. Proceed, please.
So from my point of view, it appears as if Sana Sabali's understanding was that what we discussed when we returned to State House was just a reiteration of what exactly we were told to do when we were leaving State House earlier, the first time. My understanding, however, was different. We had gone, we had not carried out the order 100%, and we were asked to go and do it again. And by virtue of the fact that we sat and through a debriefing and discussed, and the next steps, one of them was to complete the executions. Of course, by virtue of that acquiescence, it was a collective decision.
I would argue with that, even though Sana's explanation is that it was pursuant to the first collective decision and not pursuant to the order by Yahya Jammeh. That is what Sana said. And in fact, I asked him further questions. Was it a unanimous decision, a unanimous agreement to go ahead and do this? And he said, correct. It was a unanimous agreement. He said, correct. So I then asked him, so yourself and who else was present? And he said, Edward Singhateh, Sadibu Haidara, myself, and Ture.
Yes, sir.
I asked him which Ture, and he said Yankuba Ture.
Yes, sir.
Would you agree with Sana that it was a unanimous decision to go and finish the job?
The first time or the second time?
The second time, yes.
I have just answered that. That is my understanding. It was a unanimous decision. That's what I said.
Thank you. What happened after that?
Well, we proceeded to Yundum, and the detainees were brought out.
Who proceeded to Yundum?
Council members, we proceeded from there.
All of you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Did Yahya Jammeh go?
Oh, sorry, sir. No, Yahya Jammeh never left State House throughout the period.
Thank you.
Yes.
Proceed, please.
Yes. So we departed for Yundum. I believe we met Babukar Jatta there, and from there we had the detainees removed and put on the back of a Land Rover or a pickup, I cannot remember which, and then the convoy left for somewhere behind the camp, somewhere behind Bikama.
We have received evidence that council members met in the anteroom and discussed further what they were going to do. What do you say to that?
I have a different perception of what took place. It was not really a meeting. We all converged in the anteroom because that is the only space available for us to sit down and relax or wait for the prisoners to be taken out. And obviously, as we were there, we were discussing, but it was not like there was a meeting that was called.
Okay. Thank you very much. And in that discussion, did you again reiterate the decision that these officers in the cells were going to be executed, the ringleaders?
Not really. That's semantics. We already had the order. We already knew exactly what was going to happen. There's no need to reiterate exactly what we were going to do. What I do believe was happened was that it was explained to Babukar Jatta that this is exactly what was supposed to happen. This is what I believe happened.
Can you explain further how this explanation happened for Babukar Jatta?
Well, I can vaguely remember the fact that he was briefed exactly about why we were there and what needed to be done, and that we were going to do it.
Who was at the meeting?
Council members, except Yaya Jammeh, Babukar Jatta, and I cannot recall, but I can clearly remember Babukar Jatta there.
May I suggest names to you and you confirm whether those
Yes,
people
sir.
were there? Yankuba Toure, was he present?
Like I said, council members, yes, all council members, Sana Sabali, myself, Yankuba Toure, Sadibu Haidara.
And
yes.
your brother Peter Singhateh, was he present?
Not in the anteroom, no sir, I cannot recall him there. Yes.
Babukar Jatta
Yes,
was
sir.
obviously there, as
Yes,
you mentioned.
sir. Yes.
How about Marong, Lieutenant Marong, lawyer?
Marong, I saw him at the camp, but I cannot recall him there actually in the meeting.
He did say he was present there in the anteroom, and he had a conversation with you guys, and he told Babukar Jatta that the action that you had decided to take was illegal, and it was better that the arrested soldiers be taken for court-martial instead of being summarily executed.
I cannot confirm or deny that, but I would like to inquire, was this confirmed by other witnesses?
Babukar Jatta did say that he had a conversation with Marong about court-martial.
Okay, if that is the case, then fine, but I cannot recall this recommendation.
What he did not confirm was that this was discussed in the setting of a meeting.
Okay, sir.
One more thing. Marong suggested that you personally went to some of the offices and fetched wires that were used to tie the hands of the captured soldiers.
Sir, that is not true. As an officer, I don't need to go and start looking for wires. If I want wires, I'll send for them. I'll send either my orderlies or a junior soldier.
Did you send for wires, or did you personally fetch wires?
No, sir, I did not personally fetch wires. If I can recall correctly, I believe Marang's testimony, as I believe...
Statement, not testimony.
Okay, he did not testify. Okay, so you see, this is...
I cannot mislead. I have to...
of course, because I was informed, I was told that he said that I went to the signal room to get wires. And this is what I want to explain, to highlight. You see, I was posted to the infantry battalions. I've never been a signal officer. And I'm not familiar with the signal room and the offices therein. So I would not have known whether they had wires or not. So that statement is inaccurate.
Did you order anybody to fetch wires?
No, sir, I did not.
The commission conducted exhumations of the remains of those who were executed that day, and what we found, what the investigators found, was in fact that wires were used to tie the hands of these people, of the victims. That obviously supports the statement of Marong, except for the fact that we do not know where the source came from, whether it was you who provided it or somebody else. But let's leave that.
No, but let me just say one thing. I agree, they were tied. They definitely were tied. And the reason for them being tied was to make sure that as they're being transported, they don't jump off and escape. But I did not go and get the wires, and I did not tie them.
Did you order them
to tie? No, sir, I did not order that. If I did, I would tell you.
Who ordered that they be tied?
I cannot recall, to be quite honest, to be candid, I cannot.
But at this stage, was the illegality discussed at all?
No, it was not.
Did Babukar Jatta offer any resistance to your planned illegal action?
No, he did not, but I do not blame him for not doing that.
No, we're not asking
no,
you
but
to
yes,
attribute...
I know, but I just have to give this explanation so that people will understand that he was also under pressure, and it was not that he was encouraging us to do so. I also have to be fair to other people.
We appreciate that, but the question is, he did nothing to stop it.
That is true, he did nothing.
In fact, he went along with the council members to carry out the execution.
Yes, sir, he did.
Okay, so tell us where you went to carry out this execution.
Yes, sir, like I said, it was somewhere behind Brikama. I don't exactly know where. We were following the convoy, and when it stopped, the soldiers were, the prisoners were quickly ushered off the vehicle and then just taken to the side of the road, shortly in the bush, and shot.
Can you give us the details about how this shooting was carried out?
Yes, sir, they were taken off the vehicle and then taken into the bush. They were knelt down. Sana Sabali ordered for the soldiers that had accompanied to line up and open fire.
How about council members?
I don't believe that Yankuba opened fire. I don't believe that Sadibu Haid. I don't even believe that Sana Sabali himself opened fire.
Do you believe that you opened fire?
The easy way out would be to say yes. Yes, I opened fire, and just like everybody else.
No, the easy way out is to deny responsibility completely.
No, because that would not be the easy way out before the TRC. But what I'm trying to tell you is that they were there, we took them there for that purpose, and they were executed under our command and orders.
Well, for your information, Sana Sabali said yes, he fired.
You see, there was no need for officers to fire. The men were ordered to fire, and they fired.
He also said you fired.
Well, for me, it doesn't make a difference whether I fired or not. I am equally culpable, and I accept my responsibility as everybody else.
Let me read out what Sana Sabali had to say. I asked the question, who gave the command for the execution? He said, I, Sanabi Sabali. And your council members, did they participate in the execution? Answer, everybody participated in the execution. I asked him, Yankuba Ture? He answered, yes, correct. Sanabi Sabali? Correct. Edward Singhateh? Correct. Peter Singhateh? Correct. Sadibu Haidara? Correct. And all of you participated in the execution? He said, yes. Is he lying?
I'm not saying that he is lying. My recollection and his recollection are different.
Alaji Kanyi testified. He said all of you stood in an extended line. All of you fired, just like Sana Sabali said.
Well, let me tell you how that cannot be possible. Because if all of us stood in an extended line along with the soldiers that came, we would not have been able to fit. It was not even physically possible to stand in an extended line and then execute these soldiers together.
Mr. Singhateh, what he meant was, all of you stand next to one another, not that a meter apart or thereabout. All of you converge in one area, all of you pointed your guns and fired.
I understand what you have just told me. But what I'm trying to say that in that part of the bush, it was not physically possible to do that. So the soldiers that were ordered to execute did stand and then open fire.
So you are suggesting that it's a separate group of soldiers who were ordered to carry out this execution?
Qualify separate. We went with them. There was no separate group. They were with us and following our orders.
Did you also re-echo Sana's order to execute?
Well, I didn't have to. I did not. But I was there and they were executed.
Did you do anything to stop it?
No, sir, I did not.
We have other witnesses who also said you participated in shooting.
So that doesn't make it true. And like I said, even if Sana Sabali had told me I'm staying at Yundum and you go and do this, I would have gone and done it. I would have.
But that is not the situation we are
what I'm trying
confronted
to
with.
say is that I was there and I was not forced. I was there willingly. I was part and parcel of everything. And like before, I am equally criminally liable. I accept that.
If you were charged,
yes, sir, I would agree that I am guilty to murder. I have said that, yes.
of 6 of your colleagues from the Gambia National Army executed in cold blood.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Buba Jame executed. Lieutenant, hold a second, let me just get the names. A chopping, but that's Aliuba, isn't it?
Aliuba, yes, sir.
Huh?
Aliuba.
Yes. Abdullah Ba, rather. Abdullah Ba, a chopping. Lieutenant Bakari Mane Nyancho. Lieutenant Momodu Lamin Dabo. And Cadet Silla. And I think there is one more. And Lieutenant Jibril Singh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You accept responsibility for them?
Yes, sir, I do, sir. I do.
What would you say to the families of these people?
I would say definitely I am deeply sorry for my actions and I take full responsibility. These were fine officers, apart from the coup. The coup aside which came between us and led to the executions. They were friends and comrades. They were good men. They were good men.
Yes.
And their families lost them due to our actions. That should not have happened. They should have been taken for trial, no matter what threat they posed. So what happened was illegal, it was wrong, and terribly unfair to the families. We have deprived the families of their father, their husband, their son, their brother, and because of our small Gambian society, we know how difficult it is, and because how close we are, and how difficult it must have been for the children of these officers growing up, for the wives who had become widows, unfortunately, for the friends and family. So I am deeply sorry. They did not deserve this. They really did not. And I really do seek forgiveness and hope and pray that they can find it in their hearts to forgive. I really do hope and pray, even though they have been hurt to an extent that is inconceivable. And it happened, and I am deeply sorry. I would also go further, sir. See, those soldiers that were ordered to line up and shoot, I would like the Gambian people and the families also in each of these executions to look kindly and mercifully upon those soldiers. Ordinarily, they would not have done it if it was not for the council ordering them to do so. So, even though they had participated, but they would not have if we had not given that order. And therefore, we bear that responsibility. And I am part of it, and I am deeply sorry. But I would like all Gambians and the families not to look at those soldiers for what and judge them for what had happened. We bear the brunt and take that responsibility. And for that, I am deeply sorry. I'm deeply sorry on my behalf, on behalf of my colleagues, and I just hope that we will be able to find a way to heal. It will be difficult, and I do not blame anyone for saying that, well, he did this, he's responsible for our pain and our suffering, and I cannot forgive. I can only pray that Allah will give them the heart to forgive. And I would hate to go to my grave with this on the back. I know that I will definitely pay for my actions before Allah, but it goes beyond that. Because killing a person is one thing. That one is the sin. But those who suffer as a consequence also are hurt, and those are separate sins between you and them, because you are the cause of their suffering. And I hope and pray, before we depart this world, either them or myself, if I go first, I hope if they do not forgive me before I go, after I go, I hope they will find it in their hearts before Yom Al-Qiyam and the Day of Judgment, that they will forgive. If they can forgive before I depart or they depart, that would be even better. But I do pray for forgiveness for the pain and suffering that has been caused.
In that regard, Mr. Singhateh, would
Yes,
you
sir.
be prepared to participate in reconciliation hearings or reconciliation meetings that the reconciliation committee of this commission may wish to organize?
Sir, I offered myself unconditionally to this commission to help the process, because I believe that I am extremely responsible, not only for my direct actions, but even for actions of others. And I will explain that responsibility for the actions of others. And I would really want to participate in that. If I am invited, I will. But just to qualify the extent of how I feel responsible even for the actions of others that I am not even aware of. Yesterday I explained to you how the council was formed. I feel responsible for installing Jammeh, and I feel responsible for sustaining him there, even after the transition. We worked hard so that he would be re-elected time and time again. So everything that he did to hurt any Gambian or any human being or any animal for that matter, I do bear that responsibility and I bear that burden. And I do ask for extended forgiveness for indirectly contributing to that sorrow and pain. I'm not here to run away from my responsibility. I'm here to own up 100%. What I have done, I will ask for forgiveness and own up. What I haven't done too, I will try to offer my explanation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Singhateh. You've really extended it to include moral responsibility. The commission would focus mainly on the issues of legal responsibility, and the rest, well, I hope the Gambian people would have it in their hearts to forgive. So, on that fateful day before Remembrance Day, you, Edward Singhateh, and members of the AFPRC Council ordered and supervised the execution of 11 of your colleagues. You agree to that?
Yes, sir.
And after these executions, what did you do with the bodies of your colleagues?
They were buried in Yundum.
Buried or dumped?
Buried. Dumped means you just go and throw something. Buried means that you actually physically bury them.
Were they given a burial befitting fallen soldiers of the Gambia National Army?
No, sir, they were not.
Can you explain what happened? and how it happened?
Well, I was not there when they were being buried, so I cannot exactly explain how the process went, but I know that they were buried at Yundum.
In a mass grave?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Did you, in the army, offer an explanation to the families of the victims?
I don't believe so, no.
In fact, the AFPRC went on to feed the public a lie. True or false?
It was propaganda.
A lie nonetheless?
Yes, sir, it was not accurate, but it was propaganda. And if you will allow me just a minute. See, all over the world, the practice is the governments feed what they want the public to know. And this is exactly what we did. Whether it is right or wrong, this is exactly what we did. I'm not trying to offer excuses. Definitely not. I'm just admitting that this is what we did for the purpose of propaganda.
And that propaganda was a lie?
Naturally, it was, sir.
Yes. In fact, Yahya Jammeh said that these people, these victims, died in crossfire. Wasn't it that he said?
I don't think Yahya Jammeh knows what crossfire is.
That is a...
If those were his exact words, he might not know what crossfire is.
Was he deliberately lying or misleading the people?
I think...
Or he just was ignorant about what crossfire meant?
I think the latter. I think he perhaps maybe did not know what crossfire is, because...
You don't rate him much as a soldier, do you?
Well, so as a soldier, I was an infantry soldier. We were trained in the best institutions in the world. We have our standards. Yahya Jammeh was not an infantry soldier. So there are certain things that he would not know.
But does it really take an infantry soldier to understand what crossfire means?
Well, sir, you can go to school with somebody and he can be a genius and you can be less than a genius.
Are you suggesting Yahya Jammeh was dumb?
Sir, no, actually he was not dumb. Definitely not. On the contrary, this man has fooled PhD holders. He has deceived intelligent people, very well educated people, intellectuals for how many years? He's not dumb. You cannot underestimate him.
That is why I am suggesting that he in fact knows fully well what crossfire is.
Maybe the technical terminology. Perhaps he got that one wrong. Otherwise he would not have used that in that context. It just doesn't make sense.
Anyway, perhaps I should withdraw that word. It may be a mischaracterization. All he suggested was that these people died during the fighting.
If he had said that, then it would have been more reasonable. But to say that they died in crossfire, that we were fighting with somebody else and they died in that crossfire.
If people die in fighting, it would have to be crossfire.
No, not crossfire. Crossfire is when you have two units engaging each other and the crossfire hits somebody in the middle.
Wouldn't it be... Well, that betrays then my own ignorance and not Yahya Jammeh's ignorance.
It's excusable for you because you are not a soldier. You don't, you know.
Okay, let's leave it at that he suggested that these victims died during the fighting.
Yes, sir.
That was false.
Sorry, sir?
That was false.
Yes, sir.
Was it a collective decision to feed falsehood to the people?
I don't know who drafted what Yahya Jammeh said. I cannot recall how it came about, but we did accept that there had to be some kind of information fed and some kind of explanation given to the wider public.
The first statement was read out by Sana Sabali at Radio Gambia.
Yes, sir.
And he also suggested that people died during the fighting.
Sir, it's propaganda, sir. And I would point to any conflict worldwide. When one side says that, well, we killed 100, the other side said, no, it was 5, we killed 20 of them. Half of it is inaccurate and not true. The real figures stay in the field and close to the chest of the commanders, so that morale can be maintained and public security also can be reassured. There is a reason for that kind of propaganda.
That may very well be the case. My own side of it is that the public was misled as to the truth of what happened.
Well, sir, yes, sir, of course, in a nutshell, that is true. But like I said, it was for propaganda purposes.
And that was not really the end of the events of November 11. Alhaji Kebe was arrested and was shot. Tell us about it.
Yes, sir. Alhaji Kebe was arrested as being part of the coup. And he was brought into the guard room where he was, at Yundum, where he was being interrogated. And Sanasabali was the one who was interrogating him. He was shouting on him and threatening to shoot him and threatening to kill him. And I could see it was yielding no results. So I told him, sir, let me take over. So I sat in front of him. He was seated directly in front of me, and I withdrew my pistol. Listen. And I withdrew my pistol. Okay, you're looking for something to counter what I'm about to say.
Of course,
okay,
Mr. Singhateh, yes, you know how it is, you know how it goes.
Okay,
you know the drill.
But just because it's there doesn't mean that that is true.
You're anticipating that your statement would be contradicted.
No, because now I've got to, every time you look over, I know what is going to come next. Yes. Nonetheless, I took out my pistol and I pointed it at his knee. Well, after asking him a couple of questions, he was mum, he was not responding. I took out my pistol and I also threatened to shoot him in his leg. However, there was a round that was discharged and it entered his thigh. As soon as I noticed that, I got up, he was bleeding profusely, and I had ordered that he be rushed to the clinic. Now, what I do know is that Alhaji Kebe has said that I was the one who shot him. What I want to make absolutely clear is that I take full responsibility for it. It is my fault. He was under my... Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Before you take full responsibility,
yes, sir.
Let's try to go back to the facts.
To what somebody else has said.
Yes, there is a different version.
Yes, sir.
And the commission is entitled to both versions.
Yes, sir.
So that the commission would make up its mind
yes,
as to which version is true and which version is false,
yes, sir.
Or propaganda. So Alhaji himself suggested that he was sitting there face to face with you and you shot him.
Well, sir, if you look at the point of entry of the bullet, I'm quite sure that you will find out that from where I was seated, if I was to have shot him, it would have either entered his pelvis or gone through the top of his thigh down into the seat that he was sitting on. Because it did not.
Do you think that Alhaji Kebe would not know that?
Sir, the situation was very tense. I had my pistol and he saw my pistol. I don't think he noticed, because the guard room was packed. The situation was not conducive. Some of the soldiers were shouting and there was a lot of anger. And therefore, I would not blame him if at all he felt that it was. In fact, I know he feels that it was me, because this is not the first time I'm hearing this story.
Can you describe how
yes,
you were seated?
Yes, sir. As far as I can recall, like I told you, he was seated in front of me.
Just like the microphone is in front of you if it were pushed
yes,
backwards.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Singhateh, Mr. Kebe describes a different setting. He said it was, in fact, Sabali who was right opposite him.
No.
But you were to the side.
No.
And from the side, you fired a shot.
No, sir.
He's lying.
Well, I think he is mistaken.
Well, let's hear what Sana Sabali has to say about it. And Sana said, whilst we were in the guard room, some soldiers were arrested. Lance Corporal Kebe was arrested and brought in the guard room, and there he sat down, and I was asking him questions. Like I said yesterday, there were two Kebes, Lance Corporal Kebe, one Amadou Kebe and one Alaji Kebe. That is something I have just paraphrased. But to quote, he said, so when they brought Lance Corporal Alaji Kebe, I was talking to him, asking him exactly if he was involved in the coup that has already been foiled. And all of a sudden, Edward Singhateh pulled his pistol, bang, he fired on his right thigh. I asked him, was it accidental? No, that was not accidental. I asked him, it was deliberate. He said, right, correct. And immediately I saw he was bleeding. In fact, I nearly shot Edward back. I said, why? He answered, because it is human, it is instinctive. It just came like that. I asked again, why? He said, this is the person I was talking to directly. So two things from Sana Sabali's statement. He was the one talking directly to Kebe. That supports Kebe's own version, that it was Sana who was right opposite him. The other thing is, you fired from the right-hand side. Same version as Alaji Kebe. You were to the side of Sana Sabali and you fired your pistol. The third issue is, it was Sana who was conducting the interrogation and not you. What do you say to this?
No, sir, I said that those facts are not accurate.
There is also Lamin Fati. And this is what he had to say. Do you know, question, do you know what eventually happened to him while in the custody of the members of the junta in the guard room? He says, no, in the guard room we were there. I think he was shown a chair to sit down. Whilst I think Edwards was interrogating him, then he told him that you are part of this. He said, no, sir. How can I be part of this? I cannot be part of this thing. And I had pung on his leg. I asked, what happened when you had pump? He said, it is Edward who personally shot him. 3 witnesses.
Sir, let me just point out. First of all, Sana Sabali said that he was the one interrogating. I think Kebe also said that. But Fati has just said that I was the one interrogating him.
Can I say something regarding just that point before you proceed?
Yes.
What I just wish to say is that in an interrogation setting, the person could be faced with one person asking questions. There may be another interrogator on the side interjecting. That is just possible, isn't it?
Well, so now you're talking about possibilities and could.
Yes.
What I'm telling you is that what happened that day.
The reason why I bring this out, Mr. Singhateh, is that the witness said, I think. He is not exactly sure. He said, I think. But proceed, please.
Yes, sir. Well, anyway, what I do know is that I was the one who was interrogating him. And the guard room was full of soldiers, very full. It was not a conducive environment. And it should not have happened there. If he was to be interrogated, he should have been taken into an office or a spacious place where it could be conducted safely.
Can we focus for now on your own actions instead
sir.
of the
This is, well, sir, you know, if I don't explain the conditions, those out there would not understand. They will think, because the picture that is being painted, that I was just sitting there opposite him, there was nobody there, and then, bam, I shot him. No. So I'm trying to paint the picture so that people will have an understanding of exactly what happened, and then they can make their judgment.
Yes, the picture that you should respond to is in fact the picture created by the witnesses who were present.
But that is incomplete.
Just hear me out.
Okay.
We have 3 witnesses who suggest that you were there, Sana Sabali was there, you were to the side of Mr. Kebe, and you fired a shot at him deliberately. That is the scenario you have to answer to. Are these 3 people lying?
Sir, but if you do not allow me to explain the scenario, you would not give the Commission the benefit of the doubt to be able to make an informed decision as to which one is accurate at the end of the day.
No, I have just told you that I would characterize the scenario of the evidence I have just did. And that is the scenario you have to respond to. If you have some evidence that is contrary to that, by all means state it.
So, it didn't happen like it was explained by Sana Sabali or Kebe.
How about Fatih?
No, I did not shoot him. But what I do know is that when the shot was fired, obviously it made a loud noise, soldiers moved back, and the guard room was a little bit more sparse. That is when we managed to get this Alhaji Kebe to the clinic for treatment.
The other thing is,
yes,
you
sir.
suggested that you sent him for treatment.
Yes,
and
sir.
Sana Sabali suggested that he did.
Well, sir, with all due respect to Sana Sabali, I was the one who got hold of him and asked him, asked the soldiers to escort him quickly to the clinic.
Let's listen to Sana Sabali's version.
Okay, sir.
And he was asked, what did you say to Mr. Singhateh? And he answered, this is later. We talked together, and the 2 of us, and I continue. I'll come to that, he meant. Then I attended Alhaji Kebe's foot or thigh. I applied, here it says, the transcript says tonic immediately.
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Yes, it's a medical term, yes.
Yes. I carried him to the infirmary at the clinic in the camp. And then I asked the duty driver, the ambulance and the medic on duty at the time to rush him to hospital so that he could be attended to, so that they could attend to him.
No, sir. As far as I can recall, Sana Sabali didn't carry anyone.
It's time for the lunch break, Madam Chair. I apologize for taking 5 more minutes. Thank you.
Okay, we had fixed a meeting with and they're already here. But thank you very much. Thank you very much, Edward. We'll take a break of 1 hour. Is that okay? What's the time? We synchronize?
1 hour. It's 1:30. 1:35.
1:35. We'll come back at 2:35.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Okay.